to be fair, we've had a lot of names over bands we did in the past, and some of them you can't broadcast.
Oh, you can on this show. Tell us them. Tell us them. Go on. Tell us them, man.
No, I think that helps your show as well, because we've been watching a few times and watched it last week, and you can see you've got the drumsticks out and that, and you're rocking away to the songs, and you can tell you're not just going through the motions. You're enjoying the music, and that comes across really well, actually.
Yeah, and if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. And I can't even play the drums. That's how fucking mental it is. When you're strangling someone, I meant. But there you go. You're talking music. I'm talking murder.
This is Kate Bush. Who the fuck is Kurt Pickstone?
Well, if you don't know now, girlfriend, you soon will. Anyway, people, it's our section where we call it. We have that introducing on, where we bring a band on, an artist, and we have a bit of a chat with them on the show. Find a bit about more. We find a bit about more about them. You do, and see where they're up to. So I'm going to bring them on screen right now. There we go. Yes, there we go. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Not bad, how are you?
Yeah, I'm Soundborough. Sound. Introduce yourselves.
Yes, so we're the named drivers. I'm named driver 3, I'm Craig. And we've got named driver 1 on Craig as well, funnily enough, but I don't think he's hearing us, or he's not connected, I don't think.
Right. Well, I'm sure we'll be fine without him.
Modern technology.
Yeah, it is, man. He does that sometimes, Every if it's going to go wrong, it will go wrong. I normally have the graphic with the name, but I've just been trying to work that out, and it won't move for me. So I will add that when we put it onto YouTube. If you're on YouTube, come watch the show on Wednesday evening, 6 till 8 UK time on Duggystoneradio and Mixcloud Live. That's where we live stream from. So, yeah, tell us a bit about the band then.
Well, it's myself, Craig, and one of our other friends, Alan. So we've been friends since probably the late 80s, and we've played together since 96. So it was a peak, Oasis kind of era, if you like. We're all into guitar bands back then, but we're kind of into hard rock, to be honest.
Right.
But it was that kind of Britpop thing that pushed us to get our fingers out and get out and play. And ever since then, we've played together. We've played in different bands, but we always keep coming back to play with each other. And
as it were,
we've done an album last year, and this is our second one we've just put out, and we're going to continue and do one every year.
Nice. Lele Records are on. The name said, why did you not name themselves the Craigs?
Because we've got an Alan as well. So
but ZZ Tops, they've all got beards apart from the one that's called Beard doesn't have a beard. So there you go.
Yeah,
it's,
beard. That's brilliant.
Could be a twist on it. You know what I mean? The Craigs.
To be fair, we've had a lot of names over bands we did in the past, and some of them you can't broadcast.
Oh, you can on this show. Tell us them. Tell us them. Go on. Tell us them, man.
We've done a few. One we didn't do was a Violent Perverts. That was one we couldn't do.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do that one.
We've done car park attendants. That was a good one.
Yeah,
The Sex Owls was a good one. That's kind of a bit bizarre.
Some sex as well.
Black Belts and Sex, yeah, that was another one we did. That got a few comments. But they're mainly comedy names, to be fair. But the name Drivers was a bit of an in-joke, but it just kind of feels right,
So where does that name come from? Is it that because someone's a designated driver?
It actually comes from probably our favourite comedy series, which is Alan Partridge. There's a part in that where he goes to steal a traffic cone, and he makes a comment that his assistant's a named driver, and she can drive him there to do it. And while we were recording the first album, I don't know why we just kept going on about that all the time. She's a named driver, let's go, in an Alan Partridge voice. And towards the end, it just stuck. I think we're the named drivers. Apologies, I had some audio issues. It's probably user error.
Don't worry.
But just a shout out to Alan as well. There is a third named driver, but he's a bit under the weather tonight, so it's just 2 of the 3 named drivers this evening.
So he's not the named driver tonight. Was he? Did he have too many sherbets? Oh, you know what I mean?
He might have. I think he might have actually, because this is Scotland after all.
I've heard about him. I've heard about Alan. He's a bit of a wuss. He can't handle his ale, and that's it. So there you go. I bet he's a right brute. I bet I'd be quiet. I might come down and fill me in.
No, he bullies us actually. He's like the main guy in the band, and tells us what to do. We're actually going to call the band the Main Guys, because there was a point where we were trying to decide who the main guy of the band was, who the leader was, and I don't think we've really got one. So
it's a democracy, isn't it?
I
It is.
like it. I like it. It's good. And we found with doing this show over the last 18 months or so, there's some great music coming out, great bands in Scotland, and really producing some wonderful stuff at the minute. I don't know what it is, something in the water, but it's really good, really good. So, and we really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm just going to check if there's any questions. So, how long have you been performing then? Because it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a long time if you're buddies. You've been, friends. I'm not casting aspersion of your age, but
It was great.
you're not 20, are you?
No, not anymore. We were 20 when we first started doing music serious together. Well, I've known Craig and Alan since the 1980s, since the school. And we started doing music together, as Craig mentioned, in the sort of mid-90s as a serious venture. And, it was the whole thing, gigs and wee tours and recording in studios and trying to make it as the next big thing and all the rest of it. Now in our bloody mid-40s, or the late 40s as I'm getting to now, where it's a hobby now. We just do it because we like each other's company and it's fun now. There's no pressure on us to try and make it or get a record deal or whatever. It's just fun now.
And it's quite easy now to record as well, isn't it? It's the technology out there. You can really sit in a kitchen with a laptop and throw songs at it and come away after a few hours with something decent. Whereas before in the 90s, it was, book a studio, get the drums set up, all that stuff,
Yeah.
It cost a fortune to make a 3-song demo. Now we've made our 2 albums for nothing. We made them in my kitchen, largely sitting around the table and just recording our parts and having a few beers and having a laugh.
Wonderful. And I think you've got the right attitude to. I do this, I'm not in an absolute penny out of it, but I do it because I love it, and I think it's got value doing the shows. I love the interaction with people, and it's nice. And you're right. In the 90s, there's no way I could do this. It's only in the last few years the technology's come on. Platforms like Mixcloud, where you can actually play copyright music because they pay.
Yeah.
Then we could do this show, and this came out as we was looking at doing it ourselves, but the cost to host it ourselves was phenomenal. And then as we was looking at it, Mixcloud came along, and it's opened a whole new world for us, and we love it, and it's brilliant because previously interviews used to be just audio, and I think it's great to have the audio. Some people will be listening to this on audio, but it's great to have the visuals as well. So
yeah.
No, I think that helps your show as well, because we've been watching it a few times and watched it last week, and you can see you've got the drumsticks out and that, and you're rocking away to the songs, and you can tell you're not just going through the motions. You're enjoying the music, and that comes across really well, actually.
Yeah, and if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. And I can't even play the drums. That's how fucking mental it is. I know when you look at me, you think, wow, he looks like he's been playing for years and he should be a hit drummer. But I'm an excellent air drummer. That's about it. But I don't know, just some tracks, and I think that's what this sort of genre I love, because it's got a beat you can get into, and straight away you can okay, that's that. And I just think a bit of participation by playing it is great.
Weirdly, I'm an air drummer as well. Like I would never sit and do air guitar, but I'm always sitting doing that. If a good song comes on that, I would reach for the imaginary kit before I would reach for the imaginary.
Yeah, it's right.
Quite a lot when I'm driving, just on the ride cymbal and. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that in between rolling joints. I've got the drum kits there while I'm driving. No, that was in Holland. I used to do that in Holland. But but you steer it with you get really good at steering with your leg whilst you're putting your spliff together, and you like that. And you think, fuck this. I was a bit wild back then. So.
Oh man.
True story that as well. True story. There's a serious question for you. Legally Records said, "How do you pronounce scones? Scones.
Scones.
Scone, there you go.
Scones. I say scones.
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 So there's 2 different answers.
There you go. And you'll never get the right answer, will you? You'll never get the right answer at all. And yeah, there's some serious questions and there's some not so serious questions on the show. This is normally one that I ask anyway, but Kev B, who's on, he said, any mishaps at gigs? And I like these because at the time they could be like the worst thing in the world, but afterwards you can have a good chuckle at them. Maybe because he's not here, something that Alan's done. That could work.
There's been quite a few, and that's where we got our name really, because we used to get quite drunk when we played gigs, because it was the 90s and we were young and stuff like that. And there was a bit of an incident before in our band Rainmaker. It was me, Craig, Alan, and other 2 guys, Chris and Douglas. I got really drunk and spilt a pint over his pedals, and he wasn't very happy, as you can imagine. And then once he got them going again, and they were making a crackling sound and all the rest of it, he just sort of muttered into the microphone, "modern technology." And that became like a sort of thing we would say, like at every gig. If something went wrong, I've had a bit of feedback or something went wrong on stage, I would always go to the mic and just say, modern technology. And that's where we got the name from this album from. When we were thinking of album names, we were like, let's call it modern technology, because we've said that on stage for like 20 odd years for a laugh.
I like it. I like it.
One gig we did at the Foo Bar in Stirling where Alan's amp blew up. Remember that one, Craig?
I accused Alan of buying his amp from a market stall.
It actually blew up mid-song and it started picking up radio frequencies in between the song, the slow part, and then it just crackled and it just blew up.
Driving to the plot, so you get getting the local taxis on, pick up at the train station, control them back on the plot. Yeah, we'll do that. So that'd be great, wouldn't it?
It was like a CB radio coming in and it just popped.
Oh, I love modern technology.
Yeah.
Lele Records says, "What's your favourite guitar?"
I'll go to Craig on this one because Craig's more a guitar guy than I am, definitely.
I'm probably more bass now because I play bass on our albums, but so I'll answer it from a bass point of view. So Fender Jazz is the best bass of all time. I've got a Rickenbacker 4003. It's been up my attic since 2012. I played it a lot, but I played at my last gig, and I've actually thought about this. I've not opened it for possibly 12 years, so I hope it's not been eaten by moths. But that was an expensive one, but nothing will beat the Fender Jazz. I've played Thunderbirds, I've played them all, and the Fender Jazz, because it's got a slim neck, it's just, and the sound, it's just an absolute beast.
Yeah.
That bass is behind me actually on that rack there, because I've been using it. So yeah. It's in there somewhere. Your famous bass, you've had that for about 25, 26 years, but yeah, I've got it at the moment. Borrowed it.
Wonderful. I do find a slim neck, you do get a nice sound from a slim neck, yeah. You're strangling.
Easier to play. When
you're strangling someone, I meant, but there you go. You're talking music, I'm talking murder. So Bunge says, this is an interesting one, this. What are their first memories of music?
First memories of music? I always like to try and make out I was cool, and when people ask what your first single is and stuff like that, and I would always say it was McIntyre and McCartney, but actually I think Mum and Dad had that in the house and I just thought it was mine. I think my first record was probably like Tiffany or Rick Astley or something like that. Obviously there was music in the house, like Mum and Dad would have music and stuff, but in terms of me going out and physically buying something with my own money from a paper round, it was probably something really uncool.
I nearly bought that McIntyre. I thought it was an absolutely genius track when it came out. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful track. Yeah, it is. It's a really good, really big sound as well. I think he was asking something else, but that is brilliant. My first track I ever bought was Up the Junction by The Squeeze. My brother will claim that he bought it and I nicked it, but I distinctly remember buying it from the market.
The lyrics are unreal in that song. I never appreciated that song till it was covered by Supergrass or Hot Rats.
It is. If you listen to the lyrics, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant track. Anyway, what about yours, Craig? I can't get it wrong. You're both called Craig. Craig.
I remember I went to Woolworths with my gran and bought KC and the Sunshine Band, Give It Up.
Oh, I love that as well. Love that. I love that.
That's a tune.
That is
it's
a tune.
Actually not too bad. It could have been worse, couldn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, it could have been much worse. It could have been, it could have been Birdie Song or some crap like that. Or what was the other one that was really popular? Anyway, I'm trying to think now. Back in the 80s. Got a question here for you, which is, what is the best thing about Scotland?
The best thing?
Yeah.
I would say Hibernian FC. I think Craig would disagree. Which is the football team I support from Edinburgh, but Craig's on the opposite side of the city.
Yeah. I think it's probably the attitude of people. People just get on with things and they don't really. I just think, probably just the people, I would say, to be honest. And you've got to see the scenery as well, to be fair, if you drive up north.
Well,
you can never be pretentious in Scotland because the people and your mates and that, they'll just tell you, you wouldn't get away with anything. If you tried to be too cool or you tried to be too pretentious, you would get shot down in 30 seconds. People just are real people.
That's a bit like where I come from, Salford, Eccles, Manchester. It's that's a bit brutal, and I can be a bit brutal. And I say things as they are, not to be nasty, just to say them as they are. And some people are like, you can't say that. Yes, you can, because I'm not doing it in malice. And I think you're right. There's a couple of things you said there. Edinburgh, I was interviewed in Edinburgh a few years ago, and I went up, and it is beautiful. Edinburgh is beautiful. The architecture, the food scene, going out for a drink. It's a beautiful city. And I'm not into football, so you'd be talking about all sorts. I would not. You could make up a football team name, and I'd just believe you. It was true. I don't know anything about football.
I did just make that up, actually. That team doesn't exist.
The what, sorry?
No, I did make that team up. It doesn't exist.
and the scenery. We went up not last year, the year before. We did a tour around there's about 10 of us around the North Coast 500, but we didn't do all the North Coast 500. Beautiful Loch Ness, and it's just and what I found was really interesting, because normally bikers, especially in the UK, people look at people on a motorcycle and think they're a thug because the mainstream media's made out we're all villains who are going to stab you to death. Yeah. But Scotland was phenomenal. We even ended up in a car park talking to some guys there, and I did take the mickey out of one, and he gave it me back dead straight pan, which was hilarious. And they just said, enjoy your time in Scotland, lads. Spend loads of money, drink loads of beer, have a great time. Thanks for coming. And I was like, now that is nice. You won't get that in Wales. You won't get that in Wales. Bunch of swines in Wales. They don't fucking want the money. Oh, don't come in spawn in our country. Piss off. They should put a big, never mind Adrian's Wall, we should have one right across Wales. We don't need them.
Wales is all right. I think the thing that you mentioned there about Edinburgh, you kind of forget that we take it for granted. I just walk around there all the time and never even look at it. And if you think of it from a tourist perspective, you actually step back and look at it. I can see now and again. I remember why people love it.
Yeah, you take it for granted. You do, especially growing up there.
It's beautiful. We stayed in there's like a circle. I can't think. It's like where some diplomatic buildings are. And I was being interviewed at one of them, and his mum owned it. And I was like, come out, and I was like, look at this. It's like a film set. It's beautiful. Yeah. And you go down that main street and you see those massive buildings. It is fun. And
that's where the bit that you mentioned there, Kirk, sorry to interrupt, I think that would be where Charlie Grave is filmed. You mentioned diplomatic. I think it would be Butte House, like the First Minister's residence is.
Yes.
That's kind of really old school cobbled streets.
The Newtown now, yeah.
So Newtown, big high buildings. And I don't know if you've seen that film with Ewan McGregor, Charlie Grave. That's kind of sort of based there. It's a great film.
Right. I'll have to have a look at that. But yeah, Scotland for me is phenomenal. And it's the first time I ever tried Brewdog on draft. I'll tell you, and this is your interview, and I'm telling me. So we was walking around on a Saturday afternoon, me and my wife, and we could do with a drink, like a cup of tea or coffee. We went down this side street, not on the main town, but in the side street, and found a bar. Like, it was almost like no one knew it was there. It was, we walked in, it was just all locals. They were putting bets on, they were doing all sorts. And we ended up spending about 5 hours there, absolutely smashed when we came out. All we wanted was a cup of tea. And it was just, I felt like it was my local at the end. I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, lovely.
If you go to like anywhere in Scotland and say you can have a cup of tea, the answer will just be no.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Is one of the usual Scotland questions that people go. Do you like fried Mars bars? I've never tried one.
Never tried it.
I've never tried it either. No. I don't know if it's a myth. Does it really exist?
No, they exist. Yeah, they exist. Fried Mars bars, deep fried Mars bars. I mean,
you get them in Glasgow. You get them in Glasgow. I like deep fried pizza. That's quite normal for up here. That's good, isn't it?
Deep fried, the concept of just deep fried anything is kind of weird, but I suppose we sort of grew up. That was a treat, like fish suppers.
We're actually only 21 years old. We just look terrible.
the Scottish diet, absolutely wonderful stuff, isn't it?
Cholesterol and beer. That's it. That's what we were raised on: cholesterol and beer and good music.
Why not? And you can't beat it. It's absolutely wonderful. I'll see if there's any more questions. Oh, Mantray, I remember being amazed to find out Edinburgh has a brilliant beach area at Portobello. I don't know if that's true. Is that true?
Yes.
It is.
Nice promenade there as well.
Oh, I'll have to check that out next time. I mean, I've been to Lindisfarne, which is a bit further down, isn't it? I called it Craggy Island because it was just reminded me of Craggy Island out of bloody Father Ted. That's a beautiful place as well. That is wonderful. Wonderful.
Scotland is nice. I think we are spoiled here.
You are spoiled, guys. You are spoiled, and we never want you to leave us because you're part of us. You're great. I know there's always this Scottish England sort of shit that goes on, but deep down, you're part of us. We're part of you, and that little rivalry is good.
Sport, isn't it? It's mainly a sport angle you get that on, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm fine with that because I don't follow any, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to people are generally fine wherever you go, aren't they? In the main.
Yeah. So let's talk about your music. So where did your music influences come from then?
Oh, how long have you got? I mean, I think back in the day, I was always into guitar bands, so I love bands like the Smiths.
Oh, yeah.
I was into the Stone Roses, to be fair, at the time, but not so much now. Craig, you were more kind of Pink Floyd and that kind of era, weren't you? But we just kind of mashed it all together. We all loved bands like Maiden, Metallica, and it's changed so much now, isn't it?
Yeah, even like Nirvana and stuff like that as well. But when we got together in the 1995, 96, me, Craig and Alan, and to play music together in a 5-piece band, we played like the White Album by the Beatles all the time, and we played what was music of the day, which was like, Oasis, and that was a really obvious one because that was a massive thing at the time. Yeah. But I'm not saying that Oasis by any means our best or favourite band. They probably weren't even in the top 20, but it's just because that was what was knocking around. But as Craig says, we've that was a long time ago. I like stuff now like My Morning Jacket. I like Elliott Smith a lot. I like Paul Weller. I like the Jam. Craig and I don't agree on the Smiths. I like Morrissey more than the Smiths. Weirdly, that's something Craig finds a bit odd. But yeah, I think the lucky thing for us and Alan as well, I'm sure he'll agree that we have got a lot of common things that we do like. We've got a lot of things that we go off on our own and enjoy. But we've got like a real core of music that the three of us really agree on. We can sit for hours and just listen to YouTube and listen to music together for 4 or 5 hours, and generally we'll like kind of the same thing, which makes it easy to make music together as well.
You get the odd band that like I like Porcupine Tree, etc., and you guys don't really like them that much, but after me wearing you down for about 5 years, you're finally liking them a little bit, aren't you?
I think good things in it, even if it's a production or it's a bass sound or something like that, or whatever. And we can be musos sometimes, and get a bit sort of hung up on something. And I was like, I don't listen to the Smiths because I don't like the sound of the bass or the drums. I mean, the songs are great, but I just had something in my head about the sound of the records or something. I'd be a bit of an idiot that way, but I'm different now that I'm a bit older, I'm a bit more open now.
Excellent.
The one band we always played was The Who. Whenever we get together and jam, we always end up doing tons of Who songs because it suits us, 3-piece and Douglas.
I think. I mean, because someone's asking about your earlier memories, and I think they would rather not your tracks, what your earlier memories, and that sort of stuff. Music was always playing in when I was growing up, and bands like The Who. Oh, wow, you could still put stuff on now, and I mean, it's decades old, but it still sounds good, doesn't it?
If we go in a room together, like 3 of us, and sometimes 4 of us, because we've got Douglas is a friend of ours as well. He's a really good drummer, and so sometimes it's the 3 or the 4 of us will always play Quadrophenia for some reason. We'll spend about 2 hours playing Quadrophenia. I think we could play that whole album live probably and do a decent job of it.
We talked about it, didn't we? Yeah.
We spoke about doing an actual Quadrophenia gig or something like that. And yeah, when we used to play covers together and that as well, we'd always play Who songs. And that's a thing I think we could do quite well. But we might at some point. I don't know. We spoke about it over the years.
Quadrophenia, what a great film when that came out. Sting's in it. Some great stars in that film. Brilliant film. Absolutely brilliant film. That probably put I forgot what it's called now. Whatever his face. Put it on the map, didn't it? What's it called?
Brighton,
that's it. Because there's the alleyway scene, isn't there? And everyone goes and there's a door.
Yeah, Leslie Ash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So what have you got planned for the rest of 2024? Are you doing any gigs? I wasn't sure if we asked you that.
We've never, as I mentioned, we've done loads of gigs together over the years. Different.
But have you got anything planned now, or is it you've been studio based now?
Yeah, with this 3 since we've been in the Name Drivers project and making music, we've never played live. It feels like a real studio project. And I don't know if we would play live. I feel a bit too old for it, to be honest.
You don't need to, do you? You don't need to. It's a bit like, I've said this to a few people, and Janice, my producer, and I said, really, probably people expect me doing this job and try to promote bands that I should be out on a Friday and Saturday night at gigs, chatting to bands and getting to know. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I just don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. And to be fair, when it gets past about 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'm normally knackered anyway. Do you know what I mean?
We've got some great memories of playing live together and stuff like that as well. You know, and we've got some videos.
Well, you've done it, haven't you?
From the 90s and stuff. I think sometimes, you know, who knows? Sometimes we'll get the acoustic guitar out and just play for our three selves, just for the fun of it, with a few beers and just enjoy playing music together. Nobody will ever necessarily hear us playing it.
You should do some live streaming. You should do a live stream. And just thrown out there, if you ever want to try it and use our platform and do a live stream one night, you're more than welcome to do it. It costs you nothing.
I think we maybe could actually. I've done a few solo gigs. I do solo stuff under The Last Ghost, which is my sort of solo sort of music thing, and I've done a few live streams like that. But I don't know, I feel that we might at some point again, because we've said a few times over the years we'll never play live again, and 5 or 6 years passed and we did again. But the last time Craig and I and Alan were on stage together was what, 2012?
2011 it was. 2011, yeah, the end of 2011, so long time ago.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, well, we're going to let you get on with your evening in a minute because we need to carry on with the show. Someone's asking the question, what's the name of the album? It's called Modern Technology. I've just dropped the link to the Name Drivers Spotify playlist there for you, so check that out. Because Mantray's on, and they're very similar. They used to gig, play with loads of bands. They now are in different parts of the country, and they basically just do studio stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's moved on to that. Now, can one of you do us an artist drop, which is... This is the Name Drivers, and you're listening to Duggystone and we'll make that into a jingle.
I'll let Craig do that.
Go on, Craig.
No, Craig, you do it. You're Name Driver 1. That's your job.
All right, okay. This is Craig Higgins from the Named Drivers on Duggystone, and thanks very much, Kit, for having us, and I hope you enjoy our music. The Named Drivers on Spotify. Check it out.
Wonderful, man. Love that. So what we've got for the track, let me check out, because you've got you obviously got the album on there. It's called Thank You. Before you go, is there any theme behind this?
Craig, I'll let you speak about that one if you want.
It's the only song on the album that's written by the three of us. It's probably the first song we've written together for 20 years. So it's a real collaborative approach. What it's about lyrically, I have no idea, because Craig... I
wrote the lyrics. I would say there's probably an element of... this sounds a bit sort of sad, you know. I just see what comes out when I do lyrics, but I guess there's an element of thank you. I guess it's appreciation, you know, for Craig and Alan and people we've played over the years. And there's been many other people as well, you know, and it's kind of just thanks for being able to sort of do this together. I was probably thinking that when I thought of the chorus a wee bit, amongst other things, but yeah, it's just a bit of appreciation for these guys and being able to do music at our age.
I love that, and that is what I thought you was going to. Weirdly, that's what I thought you was going to say. And if you wasn't said that, and you said it wasn't about anything, that's what I'd have said you should say it's about. Do you know what I mean? It's weird, isn't it? But it's been absolutely wonderful to speak to you guys. Wish you all success in the future. Keep enjoying doing what you do, and hopefully more and more people will enjoy what you do out there. That was the name. They're the Name Drivers. This is their track called Thank You. I thank you from everyone at Duggystone Radio. Keep in touch. Get hold of Janice. If you've got anything going on, come on again, yeah?
That's it. Thank you very much for that. Cheers, Kurt. Thank you.
Hey, freedom!
Yes!
Cheers.
See you, lads. Thanks a lot. This is the Name Drivers, people, on Duggystone Radio. We sound good. That was the name drivers. And I think what's nice about that interview and the band is they've endured so long as friends. They enjoy what they're doing. They've been around since the 90s, producing great music like that. Go and check them out. Look, this show is about you, the listeners and the viewers, but it's mainly about the bands and those awesome bands. It's an opportunity. We scour the internet. Well, Janice does. Let's be fair. And she selects bands or artists and music and goes, this is what you should be listening to, because there's that much out there and there's probably loads more than we'll discover. But at least go and follow the bands that we're giving you. Check them out, interact with them on social media, share the music, stream it, whatever, and it all helps. And I've got a message from the last. He says, thanks so much for having Craig A and me on Craig H. It's wonderful. And I've said, well, I didn't even press send. I said, thank you. It was a hoot. It was a hoot. I love it. I love doing the interviews, if you'd not noticed. I love interact. Used to say to people, I love people and I hate people at the same time. I love people that are nice and that you can interact with and you can engage with. And some people just get right on me, threatening bits, and I can't be doing with them. But they're great guys. And it's interesting to have a chat and have a conversation like you would if I met them in the bar. That would the kind of conversation we'd be chatting about, and that's what I like, is you guys are watching us just having a conversation. And we've met some amazing people over the 86 shows we do so far. Thanks for Janice for doing it, for putting it together, and thanks for everyone that pulls up every week and supports us. But next week, invite a friend. Do you know what I mean? If there's friends out there go, oh, I only like listening to the music, I only like to listen to the 70s, tell them to come and absorb some of this. Yes, there's a place for music. There's a place for the classics out there. But let's give some of these new guys a chance.